Today I want to talk about Axel Voss, who wants to take your liberty away. And this is the face he does it when he takes it away. See? Tongue sticking out of its mouth, eyes looking in a general direction. And next to him, he is surrounded by women that go, taking your freedom away. I'm talking about the man who is the father of Article 11 and Article 13. A person that doesn't even know what the fuck he is voting on or he is creating, as the media managed to uncover by asking him a few questions. And now he has given an interview. And he admits that Article 11 and Article 13 is going to require upload filters, which is something that the European Union is against. But the legislation is made in such a way that it would only be possible if it installs upload filters. In other ways, the European Union doesn't tell companies to install upload filters, but they do make legislation that can't be enforced without them. So technically it's still legal, right? But he also says that he is fine with killing off YouTube, which is not something that I particularly didn't figure out by myself. You see, when censorship is done, no one is going to tell you, yeah, we don't like the fact that people share ideas because it goes against us. No, they're going to find other reasons to justify the censorship. And in the past, you know, people used to burn books because that's how information was being passed on. They would persecute the author of a book, lock him in a gulag or put him in a mental asylum. Nowadays, information is passed on the internet, especially on platforms like YouTube. And of course, you know, they have to go after the platform as a whole. And of course, Alex Voss's political party is becoming very, very unpopular. The AFD is gaining ground. But that doesn't stop people from getting within the European Union, as we know the case with Guy Verhofstadt. If you don't know where he gets his legitimacy from, watch my video and I explain it. His party was demolished in Belgium elections, and yet that didn't stop him from becoming a very influential person within the EU. And it's very similar for this gentleman, which is why he doesn't care that his law is incredibly unpopular. In fact, if they go after YouTube, it will make a lot of people angry, which is why they can't outright ban the platform in the European Union, and instead are trying to find other ways to make it next to impossible for YouTube to function. For example, by making YouTube liable of copyright violations. In other words, right now, if I upload something that's copyrighted on the platform, I am responsible, so the company will sue me. And it makes sense that this is the case. But Article 11 and Article 13 wants the company to be able to sue YouTube directly, which is obviously going to be more profitable. And if you think about how many videos are uploaded on YouTube on a daily basis, you can understand why there will be so many lawsuits that it would cause YouTube to collapse. As such, Susan Wojcicki said that she will have to cancel the Europeans' right to upload videos on YouTube, turning YouTube into a consumer market rather than people who can produce. And this is probably what Mr. Voss wants. And if you were to somehow manage to succeed, then you'll get a lot of people that are livid. If YouTube actually closes in Europe, a lot of normies are going to be very upset. Because you have to understand, something that actually gets the average Joe to go out and protest, like something that gets the average Joe to go out on the street, is not if people like me get silenced. Most people don't even follow political commentary on YouTube. No, it's actually if their life, if their normal schedule, if their daily routine gets influenced, then it's when people get angry. If it's something that may influence him in the future, if it's some political issue that doesn't have direct consequence, most people don't care. But a lot of people have chosen to stop using television and they're just using YouTube for entertainment. So if that were to be stopped within the European Union and the entire platform would be restricted, then you would see a lot of people that are angry and they would go out in the street to protest. It might be too late though, because the final vote is coming soon. And there is a massive, massive propaganda campaign against people who vote the incorrect way, which is voting against Article 11 and 13. And I'm going to make a video to cover the fake news and the fake studies that they are pushing. Probably not tomorrow, my cover Brexit tomorrow. Damn, there's so much to cover. Anyway, let's look at this article from Boing Boing. So Axel Voss admits that the law requires filters and says he is okay with killing YouTube. The new European copyright directive will be up for its final vote in the week of March the 25th. And like any piece of major EU policy, it has been under discussion for many years. By the way, it's also been under discussion mostly in secret. Like, this has been made public just a couple of months before the vote, which is common EU tactic. And the German AMP Axel Voss took over as the rapporteur, the steward of the directive, and reintroduced the long abandoned idea of forcing all online services to use filters to block users from posting anything that anyone anywhere claimed was their copyrighted work. So it doesn't really have to be copyrighted, it just requires someone to claim that it was copyright, and the company is going to get in cahoots first, and then they're going to settle afterwards, which you can see why this would be a major problem. Now, according to Boing Boing, they point out that there are obvious deficiencies with adding filters to every message board, online community, and big platform, and the idea became political death. However, this is why we got the European Union, which is not democratic, and people like Axel Voss do not have to suffer any consequences for pushing such bullshit. Voss switched tactics and purged all mention of filters from the directive and began to argue that he didn't care how online services guaranteed that their users didn't infringe anyone's copyrights. So you can understand that if you have a platform that uploads 1,000 videos per second, you can't do it by hiring people. You have to do it with upload filters. There is literally no other way. And considering the past of this legislation, this seems to be like a feature rather than a bug. Voss said that it didn't matter how billions of users' posts were checked, just as long as it all got filtered. It's like, I expect you to deliver a large four-legged African land mammal with a trunk, tusk, and a tail, but it doesn't have to be an elephant. Any animal that fits those criteria will do. This is perfectly an accurate comparison. Now it seems that Voss has come clean. The only way to comply with Article 13 will be for every company to install filters, which again, according to EU legislation right now, it's illegal to demand a company to install upload filters. But he's not demanding for a company to install upload filters. If they find a different way, if they find like magical fairies that can work 1,000 times faster than normal humans and they hire them to do the search, that's still fine. So technically it's not an upload filter. When asked whether filters would be sufficient to keep YouTube users from infringing copyright, he says if the platform intention is to give people access to copyrighted works, then we have to think about whether that kind of business should exist. That is, if Article 13 makes it impossible to have an online platform where the public is allowed to make work available without first having to submit it to legal review, maybe there should just no longer be anywhere for the public to make works available. It's disgusting, absolutely disgusting, the way he even doesn't even try to hide it. And of course he doesn't have to hide it, because the EU is undemocratic, doesn't give a shit about you, he doesn't give a shit about your vote. There's no way you can remove him from power, and basically he's doing this because fuck you, that's why. Also, you can tell that this has nothing to do with copyright, because they're not going after companies that promote piracy. They're not going after ways to stop people from torrenting or, you know, people from getting copyrighted materials from underhanded means. Like, no, it's about, you know, social media and basically every type of social media. It's not just YouTube. It's going to be Facebook, Twitter, like literally every sort of ways that humans can communicate and share their ideas freely are going to be targeted by this. And if what he wants is impossible, like if what he wants for there to be absolutely no way that a platform can have anything that's copyrighted material, well, then maybe that platform shouldn't exist. In other ways, we should go back to a time where we just have television, radio, and average users like myself won't be able to become creators. We would just be consumers, which is also coincidentally the wet dream of a lot of corporations that produce entertainment. Music companies, Disney, you know, like people who make movies. They don't like people like myself to create. And obviously, I say myself, but I'm a no one. People like PewDiePie, right? Like he creates content for millions of people, and a music company would rather have people find their entertainment when they get home listening to some music than to listen to PewDiePie. And this is a big problem for them. It's a financial loss. They're greedy people. They want more, more, more. And they also support this type of legislation. Now, if you like my content, please share it on your social media. It helps me a lot. Since people have started doing so, I noticed an increase into my subscriber base. If you like what I'm doing, feel free to consider giving me $1 in super chat. Every dollar helps. Usually my videos get demonetized, so meh. But anyway, I'll see you later tonight on my live stream.